Hey there, it's Martha, and if you're new, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. This is a monthly video. It's been a series that I've been doing since January. I had shared my wax goals back in December, and then this is my monthly check-in to hold myself accountable try to keep myself accountable, force myself to reflect on the past month as well. And I'm someone who needs outward accountability to motivate me to do certain things such as exercise and things like that, but also just to keep me in check. And I've really enjoyed these videos a lot just because it is an opportunity. One, I love hauls. Don't get me wrong. I love hauls, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But it's also nice to connect, I think, and not do a haul, if that makes sense. I'll get into it. I have a lot of thoughts rolling around my head for this month. And I am also incorporating something new, something like a project Use It Up. Back in 2022, I did a project Pan, which is a typical thing in the makeup world, right? If you watch or if you do watch makeup vlogs or videos, there's Project Pan, which is getting to the pan of like a blush or a bronzer, or, you're hitting the pan. And it made me realize like it takes a long time to do it. So I was thinking of bringing in some skincare and some other stuff, but I'm like, no, let's just keep it simple. And I will use this monthly check-in to like next month then say, well, how far did I get? How much did I use up? Knowing that I won't use it all up, right? And I can continue using that thing up for the end of the year, depending on what it is, or it was just for the month. In today's video, it'll just be something that I'll probably just use for the month because it's a scent. Other than that, I'll also include what I read. I only read one book. We'll get into this month. This has been a hard month, so we'll get into it. If you're interested in hearing how I did as far as my wax goals, just balance in my life. Balance was the word of the year that I chose. And just how I've been feeling lately about YouTube and everything, then stick around. Yeah, I hope I don't write things down besides my numbers. So I hope I remember to talk about all the things I just said in the intro. But I always start with my numbers, my wax numbers. So at the beginning of the year, and if you're new to the channel, I wanted to have less wax than I started with and really use more of what I have. And every time that I do my September melting, or not September, it was September this month, but every month that I do my melting basket, in some ways it makes me sad that I still have so much wax that I will not get to this year. And my hope is to eventually get to a place where where I really have like less than a year at most and less, right? And like, for example, that this spring and summer, now that I'm kind of done with those scents, I am a seasonal melter, that I wouldn't have a whole lot left over. But the truth is that's not true. I still have some spring and summer scents, of course. And now we're getting into fall and winter, and I went crazy purchasing last fall. And I didn't really have a system of tracking what I was buying. I had my spreadsheet, but I wasn't proactively tracking what I was buying. I would reactively put stuff in my spreadsheet after I had received it. And so by the time everything was coming in, you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I'd ordered this much. So this year I definitely changed that. It's helped me so much with my goals. But let's get into the numbers. I started the year with 1,073. I ended July with 1,091, so above where I started the year. So wasn't looking too good, right? And then in August, I purchased 32 items. Some of it I haven't received yet. So in August, I did the Knowles Farm Scents pre-order. And then I got the Scentsy scents, the new fall scents. I did also get friend mail that I haven't recorded. And now I'm like, did I even put the box away? I might have put it away. But I got some friend mail. And so I capped myself at like 32. Like by the second week, I think, or actually by the first week of August, I already said I've reached my cap. I'm not going to succeed unless I really put in a cap. And having a spreadsheet and knowing about how much I warm a month has really helped me then say, well, then I shouldn't be bringing double what I can warm in a month. Kind of like calories, right? If you're eating more than you're burning off, you're going to end up with more and more. So this month I did put a cap. It did mean that, I had to stay strong and not go in for the Teddy B's RTS. And once that frenzy, once that, the hype of it all wears off, I don't regret it. I don't miss anything. I don't feel, you know what I mean? I feel like there is so much hype that goes around pre-orders. We all do it. I do it. So it is what it is. I mean, I looked at the Second and Spruce pre-order list today and I'm like, oh my gosh, epic list. So it's one of those things where it is what happens. But I also know, if I could just make it through that weekend or that date and go, oh, they closed, the RTS is closed, I can't get it. And then some weeks pass, there is no regret. Just like I don't regret when I buy anything. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It's like, if I could just get over that hump, that desire, that craving, then I'm okay. And then I'll look around like I did, pulling my September basket, and then say, I'm glad I didn't, because I feel like I can't even warm what I have. Hope that makes sense. So in August, the 32 that I ordered, again, not all of it has come yet, is Knowles and Scentsy for the most part. I did get some friend mail with a little bit of lavender and speckles and Scentsy. So it was totally doable. That was it. And that was all in that 32. So the highest that I got this month was 1,123. What went out was 82 pieces. So it was a great month of warming and sending friend mail, or giving things away. So I sent 2 things out, gave some stuff away in person. And so, and then melted and had a good melting month. So 82 was what went out. And that leaves me to 1,041 for the end of the month. So I'm closing August with 1,041 units, started the year at 1,073. This is the first time since, I think, April or March or April that I've been below my starting goal. So it was a great month that way. And, and then basically I have this what was I thinking? So basically I have an extra 30, right? That I buffer when we go into next month, which is perfect. Let me then get into, Second and Spruce really quick, since I saw the pre-order list today. That gives me a little extra room to purchase Second and Spruce this month, and Teddy B's. So, and those are the only 2 vendors I plan to buy from this month. It's the other thing that has helped me is really making a decision and then sticking with it. Decision made, not giving myself an out, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm not giving myself an out. I did not give myself an out with the Teddy B's RTS. I said, nope, not doing it. And I stuck to it. And I think if I don't give myself an out, and if I just say, these are the only 2, then we'll stick to it. Again, I don't know what all the other pre-orders are that are going to happen this month, but from what I can think of, I think those are the only 2, and it's sticking with it. Now, the Second and Spruce pre-order list, there's a lot of new scents, and part of me was I hope it's stuff I already have, and there is some stuff I already have, Tipsy Gingerbread and some other things that I already have. Tipsy Gingerbread Men, I think is what it is. There's, as an example, right? There's some that I already have, and then there's a lot of new scents that sound really good. So I'm So we'll see. But again, trying to say 35 is my cap. That's on average, I am melting about 35 to 40. So, I gave myself an extra buffer. I melted or got rid of a lot more wax this month than normal, which is good. So it'll give me some room to buy secondhand spruce and teddy bees, I guess is what I'm getting at. And then saying that's it. Those are the two. Those are the two vendors I am ordering from, and that will allow me to buy up a little bit more. And I'll get into why I feel good about getting secondhand spruce. So when I also looked at my wax numbers, I kind of went and I did a pivot table and said, okay, which ones do I have the most of? So my friend Yvonne, I have 62 pieces of wax from her. So she's up there, and I've melted quite a bit in August, and I loved melting quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to melting some more. And then Knowles Farm Scents, 65 units. So those are pretty close to each other. Then if I look at secondhand spruce, I only have 37 pieces of secondhand spruce. So secondhand spruce is on the lower end of vendors that I have. And I love secondhand spruce. It's like a top vendor for me. So you would think I would have more of it. So I can dial secondhand spruce up a little bit. Then K's, I have 26. So I've been working through K's. L3 Waxy Wonders, 53. I haven't purchased any L3 at all this year, and I have 53. And I'm glad, because she's staying open, so it's okay. I'll just keep warming what I've got for a while, and I can always go back and purchase when I'm ready. Lavender and Speckles, 42. So I even have more lavender and speckles than I do secondhand spruce, and I've only purchased lavender and speckles once this year. Rose Girls, 62. So Rose Girls and Sassy Girl Aroma and Knowles and my friend's wax all are in the 60s. Sassy Girl Aroma is 66. I have not purchased any Sassy Girl Aroma. I mean, I didn't earlier this year either, when she was still open. So none has come in this year, and same with Rose Girls. I've been on a Rose Girls no-buy all year long, and I'm still at 62. Let's see. Zape. This one surprises me. 50. I have 50 pieces of wax from Zape. It's like, how did that happen? The Pharmacist's Daughter, 24, but I have a bag full of samples from Halloween of last year. So in October, I already know my melting basket for October is going to be kind of Halloween themed, obviously. So I will be melting through the samples from the Pharmacist's Daughter, but I did not record all of those samples in my spreadsheet. So this 24 does not include that at all. And then That Smell Good Shop, it's a newer to me vendor. I have 30. So that's kind of where I am with the vendors. And then Teddy Bees, 106 units of Teddy Bees. So that leads me to think, I don't know what at the time of recording this, I don't know what the list will be like, but I think I'm going to be taking it easy. That's my hope. My hope is I don't get super enticed, and I'll take it easy, and I can buy up a little more secondhand spruce and kind of do it that way. So that's at least my thinking right now on August 30th as I'm recording this. But that's where I am with wax. And I think one of the things that I wanted to mention is a reminder for myself as well. We all have different homes. We all have different amounts of warmers. We all have different spaces, all of those things. So it's hard not to compare yourself to others. And when you see other people who have bigger homes, who have warmers, maybe 20 warmers to my 10 or something, right? Double in size, double in everything. To not feel like it's hard not to compare. And you can't. And that's, again, why I had the spreadsheet, because I need to know how much I'm using. I need to know how much it's reasonable for me to warm. I have to know what is realistic for me to warm in a given time frame. I can't buy 10 loaves of something. I mean, I can if I wanted to, but you know what I mean? I will never, the amount of time it would take me to get through that could take that other person a month, right? It could take me probably months and months. So I guess what I'm saying is, and it's a reminder really to me, is you can't compare how much you're bringing in to other people. You can't feel bad. And I would never want anyone to feel bad because, they placed, sometimes they'll see pictures and say, oh, I got a small order, or this is my little order, or I didn't get that much. And it's like, don't qualify that. You got what you wanted for what you needed and for what worked for you. And I also need to think that way too. It's like, I can't say, oh, well, I can't get this, or I'm on a no buy and I can't do that. I mean, that's my own, this is my own goals that I'm working on, but it's like, I don't want to feel bad, and I don't want anyone to ever feel bad, or feel bad if you're buying a lot. Like I always say I'm not judging, and I really am not. If that works for you and that makes you happy and you have the time and the space and you're not feeling stressed and overwhelmed about it, then do it, And I think that's what I'm getting at, is like, we all need to do what makes sense for ourselves and what we have. Because what I don't want for myself, and what I've been trying not to do, or not to feel, and what I don't want for any of you, is to feel overwhelmed or feel regrets or any of that. It's like, I hope that these monthly check-ins are really a check-in for us, on whether or if you skip, don't feel bad about skipping, right? Don't feel bad about not buying things. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Do what works for you. So for me, what has been working is to say, like, hey, reasonably, I can probably only buy 10 things, 15 things from a vendor, because it's just going to take me a lot longer than someone else. And maybe I use up more wax than someone else does, and so I just don't want that comparing game to get in there. And this is a pep talk for myself more than anything else, because it's like, we all need to do what works for ourselves, is what I'm getting at. Having said that, though, I will say, being on a low buy and sometimes a no buy, I've had a few months where I've done a no buy, can be very lonely. It can be. It's hard not to get into that hype and feel like involved and feel a part of the group when everyone's talking about what they're ordering, and you're like, I'm sitting out, I'm skipping it. It is hard, and it does feel a little lonely. So with that said, I'm here for anyone who, I'd love to know. I don't know if we need a support group as well, and maybe I'll start a little chat within my Facebook group on, like, how do we, for people who really, really want to, are really making an effort. And I'm not saying that anyone isn't making an effort, but it can be lonely. If I hope that makes sense, and I hope that doesn't come off as judgmental, because it's not. It's just like, it is what it is. It's like with anything, right? It's the society we live in. You want the new, you want the extra, you want what everyone's getting. I think that's just the way we're conditioned, and it is hard when you're like, not part of it, I guess, if that makes sense. So anyway, I try not to cry there, because that's how August has felt a little bit. So we'll get into, let me reset here for a second and get into a couple other things and thoughts about August. So some questions that I do ask myself, sometimes it's good to have these reflective questions at the end of the month, and then some forward-looking questions. So a couple of things that I asked myself was, I haven't quite answered them all, but what did I learn this month? That's a kind of a good question to ask sometimes and reflect. But one that stuck out to me is, how did I take care of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally? And that was a question where, I had to really think about it. And, how did I take care of myself? Better than some past months. This month, I started at the tail end. We're talking like a week ago. to walk more and move more. And so that's good. And I want to keep that going. So that's kind of that's something that I did this month or started, even though it was at the very end, that I want to continue. Not eating out as much. So kind of started doing that. Again, trying to be better about, well, saving money because it's super expensive to eat out, and then also eating better than I have. And then mentally, it's only been like twice this week, but meditating. I used to meditate every day. I used to do a lot of things that were just so much healthier for me, and they've gone by the wayside. And I talk about this a little bit in an upcoming vlog if I put it out there. I had started another vlog and then I just deleted all the footage, and because I'm like, no, I didn't like that. And so we'll see if that vlog comes up. But to not be repetitive, I would meditate every morning years ago. And it was a time in my life that I was doing yoga. I was certified, getting my certification, so 200 hours, and then would meditating, and then would do morning pages. And her name is Julia something. What is her last name? If I remember it, I'll put it down below. But she has this concept. She even has a book called Morning Pages, where it's just stream of consciousness. It's no grammar. You're not crossing things out. You're not editing, just a stream of consciousness in the morning and just write. And that always felt good. And then meditating, but then, doing all that and then going into work, I'm like, I'd have to wake up like an hour, even an hour earlier than I already do. So, those things again started to fall by the wayside, but I am trying to meditate more, and I want to continue that because there is something very calming. And I do touch on this in my vlog, but, a feeling of peace. And, there's been so much chatter and noise everywhere, right? I think all of us. There's social media, there's TikTok, there's Reels, there's YouTube, there's podcasts, there's, radio shows, there's just chatter all the time. And it's nice to just have quiet. I need that. I'm an introvert, and to just even go for a walk. I don't always do it, but I have gone for a walk. Almost like a meditative walk where there's no music, there's no podcasts, there's no book in my ear, there's nothing, right? It's me walking and just listening to the birds chirping, the sounds, leaves rustling by the wind, or things, and smelling in the springtime, when jasmine comes out, or there's roses blooming. And I have a neighbor that has, these rose bushes outside, and you walk and you smell the fragrance. And I think I want to get more back to that for my mental health. Back to having moments of just quiet. Because in those moments, there's so much clarity. I find there's so much clarity for myself. It's amazing. And all of these feelings that I'm feeling right now, just so you know, tomorrow I could wake up, and if I were to do this video, it'd be a totally different video. But I do like doing these monthly check-ins because it's how I'm feeling right at the end of the month, right now. Many times, in my life, I've gone to bed really sad, crying, the eyes puffy, whatever is going on. And I always would count on and believed and had faith that just go to bed. Everything will look better in the morning. And sure enough, it does, right? Everything feels better in the morning. It's like, God or the universe or whatever higher power you believe in kind of took some of that away while you were sleeping. And then the sun is shining and things feel better. And so that having just that quiet time can be very good. Whether it's sleeping, meditating, or whatever, sometimes it's nice. And I think we live in a world that's just go, 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 constant, that we forget to just stop and listen inside to what's going on. So Another question, did I take time for activities that bring joy and fulfillment? Yes and no. The yes is YouTube. I love making videos. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't. That's the yes. It gives me fulfillment. But there's the flip side to that is then it takes time away from other things. And I have been feeling lately that YouTube, all of it, not just me making videos, but like all of it, right? All of it, wax, everything. Like I've even mentioned, I think last month, that there are days where sometimes I just don't want to melt anything. And I'm starting to get more and more of those things. There are days where I don't want to watch YouTube. There are days where I don't want to film a video. There are days where I want to just kind of like, what happened? Where's the rest of my life? You know what I mean? And I have felt that YouTube has become all encompassing. And my word of the year is balance. And I felt like I'm like not in balance, it's like taking over so much. And I have other hobbies that I've neglected for now almost 2 years. And there's a part of me that wants to rediscover that again. There's a part of me that, I think it was Ember in the community on Facebook. I think it was National Photography Day or something like that a couple weeks ago. And she posted some of her photos and to post some of yours favorites. And I'm like, oh, I have some favorites, and I posted a few and it just, as I was looking at those, I was like, I miss that. I missed going out with my camera and just taking pictures. I do miss the 365 photo a day thing as well. And I miss that because, one, I love the challenge. Like you get a prompt and kind of like a wax melting challenge, right? You get a prompt and it's like, and some were harder to do than others. And some I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the store and buy like striped straws or something. But some days it was just nice. It makes you stop and look around. And that's what I loved about that project. Because some days it could be like a macro photo of a flower or something, right? A dandelion or a ladybug on a leaf, right? You don't notice those things unless you're looking for them. And it made you stop and look, like take a picture of the redwoods, from this angle, or take things from different angles. And it would give you perspective in not your normal way of looking at things too. And so I miss that. I'm running very low on handmade cards that I've made. And I'm like, I need to be making some birthday cards and some cards to send out to friends and stuff. And I miss that too. And so part of it is going like, how do I bring that back into my life? And, right, it's not or, but it's and still include YouTube and the wax melting and all of that I love. But not letting one thing be so all encompassing that you forget other things that you really enjoy doing, going for walks, whatever it is. So yeah, when was the last time you did something that was fun and that was a fun activity for you? So something to think about. Yeah. And I think those are really the questions. I mean, I have others. Like, what habits and routines do I want to establish? And well, yeah, walking more, eating better, and probably starting to do yoga. Even though I know to do like full yoga, I need to be in a yoga class. I need outward accountability. I need to be in a classroom where we're all holding plank together and I can't just drop because it was too much, right? If I'm in a class, I am not the first one going down. I'm holding plank until my arms are like this and she tells us to drop. But at home, no one's watching me to make sure that I'm holding plank for that long, right? And so I'm more likely to go, oh, okay. That was good. That was good. You did good. You haven't done yoga in a while, right? Kind of like giving yourself excuses. But in class, no, I'm holding it. I can be that strong, right? So what I'm getting at, but I do want to start doing yoga. So even if it's for morning, in the morning, some 7 rounds of sun salutations, right? Even if that's it, just to get myself into it. That I can do on my own. But then how do I then bring back the studio back into it, right? Of going to the studio and taking a class. So baby steps, because all of this takes time. And right now, one hobby has been taking almost everything. So it doesn't mean I'm going away, but I don't want to burn out, right? It doesn't mean I'm going away, but maybe instead of last month, I did 4 videos a week, and it's a lot, and working full time and working not at home, right? I mean, I have a commute and I work in an office, and there's dinners and there's workshops. There was a workshop, and I came 2 days this past week, and I came home. I had nothing to give. I just came home, took off my shoes, closed my eyes, and I fell asleep. And that was it. And, I'm just more tired and stuff. So, there are just days like that. Okay. Let's get into books. What did I read? I normally read 3 to 4 on a good month, maybe 5. This month in August, 1. Again, out of balance, completely out of balance, no time for anything else. And no time for anything else. And I still feel like I'm not doing enough. But one book, I am currently listening to Iron Flame, which is part 2 of, what was that called? It's Rebecca Yarrow's book. Let me see if I can find it. I read it a few months ago. Big book. Does it say what the other book is? It's I'm guessing a trilogy called The Emperor. This is number 2. But what was the other one? Well, anyway, I'll put it down there if I remember. But it was this is book 2 of that, called Iron Flame. It's 28 hours. So I'm 11 hours away from finishing that book. So I was really close, but I wasn't going to be able to say that I finished 2. So the one book that I did finish is called The Idea of You. This is a book from, let me go back and see how, this is a few years old, maybe 2017, maybe. Book by Robin Lee, and it was first published in 2017. And they, on Amazon, if you have Amazon, pretty sure it was Amazon, they did a movie with Anne Hathaway. She played the lead character, and I will say the book is way better. But I did watch the movie afterwards. I think the only thing with the movie was the book it's a big book. It's a long book. How many pages is this? It felt like it was a long book. 384 pages, so almost 400 pages. So it's a long book, and the movie's like less than 2 hours. So I just felt like, and that's the thing why movies usually aren't as good, is it felt like there was a lot missing. And this book is all really a character driven book and about relationships. So the chemistry to me wasn't there, and it went too fast in the movie. In the book, I think it was great. Now, this book is not for people who don't like open door romance. There's, the language of body parts is explicit, and there's a lot of sex. If you like sexy books, you may like this, but if that's not for you, this is probably not a book for you. But The Idea of You by Robin Lee, it's a very emotional contemporary romance, and I think it's for people who do like those type of complex relationships where there's an age gap as well in this relationship. It is a love story, a high-profile romance as well. And so this book is about Celine. She's a 39-year-old owner of an art gallery in Los Angeles. She is reluctant to take her daughter, Isabel, to meet her favorite boy band. I think this book was inspired by... Oh, wow. I can't believe it just left me. I'm like, that boy band that Harry Styles was in. you're yelling right now at the camera or at the video. But anyway, that's what I was thinking when I was reading this. So she does take her daughter to meet this boy band, right? And then there's this unexpected connection with one of the singers in this world famous boy band called August Moon. He basically, Hayes is the character in the boy band. He is very mature, confident, flirtatious, and he really woos her and starts to kind of go after Celine, who's much older, and she wasn't looking for a relationship, but there was something there. There was a connection. So this is that story of older woman, younger man, and then you add on this high profile. We're talking One Direction. I got it. One Direction. I mean, talk about, girls just screaming and 12-year-olds and all of that, right? And this love affair basically that happened between the two of them. And you kind of get this behind the scenes of what it's like where you can't escape people, right? And you have to find little moments in time. And then she's got this daughter who loves this band. How does she tell her daughter she's dating one of the guys? So that's what this book is about. But it really was about this connection between the two and that age gap and knowing it's never going to really work out, or how can it work out? But they're truly, truly in love with each other. So it was a good book. I liked it. I'm not one to necessarily read just purely character driven. I mean, the love was there, right? There's a lot of love. Like I said, there's a lot of sex going on. But but I enjoyed it. And it's one that I think will stick with me for a long time. Now, I will say, I did like the ending of the movie better than the book. That's all I'm going to say. So that for that part, I did like the movie. There is sadness. There's a lot in this movie. You feel for them. There's some sadness. There's some joy. There's some kind of this, a little bit of voyeurism in the sense of lifestyles of the rich and famous kind of thing. So I enjoyed the book. So that was called The Idea of You. And then like I said, I'm almost done with Iron Flame. And I'm just started reading a book called the something Afterlife. It's a fun little romantic comedy book, I think, that I'm reading. So hopefully I will finish those in September. Don't want to berate that too much or go too long. I already feel like I'm talking too much. Okay, so then I normally do a favorite, but before I do a favorite, I'm going to do my little project Use It Up. So I will get that and then be right back because my camera is running out of batteries. Okay, my project Use It Up is I have a lot of body lotions and fragrance mists from Bath and Body Works. So this month I want to focus on 2 and see how far I get. And I've been using it quite a bit. So this one is, I got 2 different ones here. Let's get the right ones. Open Sky. Open Sky. This is scent notes of, let's see here, fresh air, wild blackberry, soft violet, and a cloud of comforting vanilla. I got this probably 2 years ago, and this reminds me a lot of Marc Jacobs. Is it So Fresh? I think it is. That's what it smells like a lot to me. And they don't have this anymore as far as I know. So really enjoy the scent. It is very fresh for that reason, and I love it. So I put a little Sharpie of where I'm at. So next month I'll see how I did and maybe even finish it. So I'm right there. And with this one, I'm right there. So I just kind of marked it with a Sharpie, and we'll see how much we use. I also put down that I have a little over 5 ounces left on this, 5.1, and then 3.5 ounces of that. So we'll see how we do. And then this other one is Honey Wildflower. Also got this, I think, that same year. This is scent notes of crisp pear, fresh wildflowers, and sweet honey. So I have this one, and this one you can see because this was a nice clear bottle right there. And so that one is about 6.9, almost 7 ounces left. And then the body cream, I actually can. I probably could mark it. I think I'll hold it up to the window and mark it. It's like right around there, which is 5.7 ounces of this body cream. So I like to, the thing too about mists is they don't last all day, right? They're light. It's not a perfume. And I have lots of perfumes, and I do plan on doing my perfume video. In fact, I've been thinking about it more and more. And I think in September, if I'm in the mood and I don't have 4 videos a week that I feel like I need to get through, I will do it. I gave you a sneak peek if you saw my warmer tour. I think Maz caught my the Kaali perfume that I have. So I have my perfume there. So I am going to do my perfume. I've been talking about it for a year. But I like to do Paul Gaultier's Scandal has honey in it. So what I like to do is go into Fragrantica and see what notes there is. Or, this one has crisp pear. So when I had pear from Janie's Got a Gun, why does that? I know that sounds like every time I say it, I'm like, that's Aerosmith. Janie's Got a Gun. But it's something like that. It's so close, but it's not that. But anyway, has a pear scent, right? Which I ended up using up. So that's just an example. I will find like a fragrance or perfume that would complement it really well. This one, because it does smell like Marc Jacobs So Fresh, I believe. I have it's not that scent, but I have another scent that's kind of a dupe of it that I wear a lot in conjunction with this. So I will go through my perfumes. I think I'll take a poll in my Facebook group, but also let me know here. I'm kind of thinking like, how do I do this? I don't want to like go through every scent I have and give you all the scent notes and all that. I might just highlight a few of my favorite, like I'll show you my collection, all of it, and just show you right here, not be sniffing everything and talking about each one in a lot, and then maybe highlight a few that for whatever reason. Does that sound okay? Because again, I don't want it to be a 2-hour video. I can't talk that long, and it's too long of a video for me to edit. Or I could do that, and then maybe I could do like a little series of it. Like, here's all the perfume, and then do a series of like, these are all the, just for example, Dossier that I have, or these are all the Kaali that I have, or, these are the commodity ones I have. So, and maybe do little sub videos in the future. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it exactly, but that's kind of what I'm thinking with perfume. So that's what I want to use up. And then I always end with a favorite. And my favorite is from K19. This is Biometric Hair Science. This is Molecular Repair Hair Oil. So that's the bottle, K18. It's like a damaging or bonding. I don't know what it is exactly that it does, but it prevents damage in your hair. And I apply it when I come out of the shower, my hair's still wet. I put some of this in there, and then I'll do my, heat protectant, and some other things that I put in my hair. But I went and got a facial on Friday night, and, she goes moving my hair, and she's like, oh my gosh, your hair is so nice. And it is. And the reason, and it is, I know that sounds a little conceited, but it does feel good. I know you can't touch my hair, but my hair feels really good. And part of it is this. And because I have naturally curly hair and I've been blow drying it and straightening now much more than I was in the past, I want to make sure I don't damage it, right? Because with all that heat, you're going to damage your hair eventually. But yeah, it's definitely feels, it doesn't look silky probably, but it feels really nice and smooth. And so that is K18 and some other things. I think I might do a hair, maybe I'll do a couple of things that I do in my hair. It's not just this, because this is newer, but there's other oils, kind of does a similar thing. But K18 is kind of my favorite that I'm sharing for this video. So it's been a month. So needless to say, as you can see, August has been a month of a little bit of reflection, a little bit of contemplation, a little bit of kind of digging deep into my emotions, and a little bit more of, in some ways, being selfish and being okay with that. And by that, I mean at the tail end, as I'm kind of going through a lot of these kind of emotions and feelings that I'm having, it's really thinking about, well, what would make me happy? Not what makes other people happy, but what would make me happy? And, and thinking about, the photography and the walking and the meditating and some of those things that used to really bring me joy. And so it has been thinking about also even stepping away from, chats and social media and those things. Like some days I just, I'm going to turn it off. And that's okay. And that's completely okay. It's whatever you need when you need it. And then, so it's been it's been a month where I think I've just been thinking a lot about a lot of things. It's been extremely busy at work. Like there's a lot of days waking up at 6 a.m. for a 6 a.m. meeting. So waking up at 5:30, waking up at 7. Work was brutal this month. It was really brutal. And that could be soul sucking as well. So part of it is, filling the time that I do have with not with shoulds, but with what do I get to do or what do I want to do? We can't always do everything we want to do. Of course, we have obligations and things like that, but making sure that you do take care of yourself, making sure that you check in and say, is this working? Like, do you like the way you're feeling right now? And if the answer is no, okay, what can you change? What can you make different? What can you do differently? What can you change? So that's August. August has been that for me. And it's interesting too, because it's also in the wax world, kind of the end of summer, and September is fall winter. It's my favorite time of the year as we enter September. And I think it's a start school year, right? School started for if you have kids that go to school. So I feel like in some ways it was an interesting month where I do feel like there's this transition happening personally, and also just it is happening in the world with the calendar. So it's been interesting. I don't know. They say Mercury's in retrograde again, and that also can mess with emotions. So, and communication and all kinds of things. So interesting times. So we'll see what September brings. I hope September is a wonderful month for you. I hope it's a good month for me, and we'll see where we are next month. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for, again, your love, support, and for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.